Oh my, it's all, hang on. Let me de-steam you. Did that work? Kind of? Hang on. It is like super humid in here, you guys, because I've been canning, so. Just see, there we go. Hang on, one more wipe. All right.
This is cold.
You get the true me. My hair is kind of wild. I'm a little flushed in the face, a little sweaty, a little crazy. My house is absolutely trashed. It is happened. The orchard was ripe. I've been canning like a crazy woman for 3 days now. We have hundreds of pounds of fruit in our house. Just trying to get through all of it. Hey, Rhonda. Anyway, so it's a little crazy. Right now I have apple pie filling, only sweetened with honey, out into the canner. Let's see, what else? I've got some apple pie filling over on the table cooling. I've got apple pear butter on the counter, and just in case you're going to ask, no, I have not recorded any of this. When it gets a little bit less stressful, I will bring out the camera and share with you guys what I'm doing and what I put in my canned goods and how I do it. But for right now, I really just need to process like 500 pounds or so of the 800 pounds, and then I'll bring out my camera, okay? So I will get those videos eventually, and I have not forgotten about the cranberry sauce video either. It's just everything exploded. And that's why I was exactly a minute or two late tonight, because it's just nuts. So I pulled my whole chicken out of the Instant Pot. It's been cooling. I'm going to take all the meat off of this while we wait for a few more people to jump on. And let me see if I can find a clean container to put it in. I mean, it's looking desperate, guys. Oh, there's one. Oh my goodness. Just been like one of those days. It's been one of those days. Well, it's been one of those weeks. And I think it's going to continue to be one of those weeks, but it's a blessing. We have food, so I don't want to complain too loud. Let's see, a cutting board that isn't dirty. Oh, here's one. We have one more cutting board that's not dirty that's left in the entire house. Just been kind of a crazy day, which is fine. Just going to take the meat off the bones here. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put the bones right back in my Instant Pot, which is right underneath you guys. So I'm going to make bone broth. So back in it goes. This was one of the pasture-raised chickens that we raised this year. So I often do this just to make freezer space as well, but making broth and canning it and getting all the meat off the bones, and then I usually separate it out into 1 pound packages. I hope I'm coming through clearly. If I'm not and I'm all choppy, please let me know if you can in the comments. I know last week the reception was not good, so if you have the ability to comment down below, let me know if it's okay today. Because there's really no way for me to tell. Oh, good. Thank you so much, Rhonda. I'm so glad I'm clear today. It's just sad because I don't have a way to tell whether or not I'm choppy, and then what ends up happening is we get all the way recorded for a whole hour of a live, and then when I go back to upload it, then I find out I was choppy. So kind of disappointing. So if you're just now jumping on, you haven't missed much. We're just taking a whole chicken and deboning it, taking all the chicken off in preparation to make our 1 pot chicken fajita rice. We are up and rolling, but you sure could use raw chicken breasts. If you're going to do that, go ahead and start chopping those, because you're going to go ahead and saute that with the butter. I just don't buy chicken breasts anymore because chicken breasts are, because they don't have any skin on them, they're really, really low in vitamin A. Your body needs that when you're processing protein, so we try to only eat bone-in, skin-on chicken. So I just chop up the skin and the meat all together, put it all inside the dish. A couple of my kids will pick out the skin if it ends up on their plate. But if you chop it small enough, usually there's not any sort of like declaration of civil war or anything over chicken skin that ends up in someone's food. And if I go to can it, I also leave the chicken skin on. It all goes into the jar and then is used in meals later. Our freezers are full, so I'm in the process, like just as the orchard got ripe, I was in the process of trying to can up as much whole chickens as I possibly could. So I was already in canning mode full bore before I had all this fruit. So I've just pretty much been canning. This apron's already filthy because it's got applesauce and pear sauce all over it and apple pie filling. It's getting lots of use out of it, that's for sure. Whoops. Clean this out on the table. Alright, so we're going to go ahead. I have a Dutch oven over here. Hang on. I'll move you. Got a Dutch oven back there. Okay. The top of your screen here, I got a Dutch oven. You can use any pot that has a lid, but you're going to want a relatively deep one. You are going to be putting at least a pound of rice into here, so just take that into consideration. So I've got this Dutch oven, and I'm going to go ahead, and this is cast iron, so we don't go over medium heat on cast iron, even though it's enameled. Cast iron gets extremely hot. It holds its heat, unlike other types of stoveware. So we're just going to go over medium heat with this. We're going to put in 4 tablespoons of butter. And I just estimate my butter, so that might be a little more than 4 tablespoons, but butter's good for you. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is chop up 1 whole onion. Hey, Diana, you're back. Hey, Jackie. I'm so glad you guys came tonight. It's just been a really crazy week, guys. Not gonna lie. I've been canning like a crazy woman. Which is why, if you guys have been tuned into the channel about the video series on the GAPS diet, I've not gotten around to another video. I have not. We homeschool year-round, and when stuff like this happens, like the whole harvest, bringing in the harvest, we don't homeschool, so we haven't done that this week either. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and chop up the onion into pieces of your choice. You can do it as small or as large as you'd like. I would leave them in half rings if I could. But my husband would not eat my dish, so that's good for that. All right, there was a question. Hang on 1 second. I don't know why. It always makes it disappear, but it does, so. Okay, hang on. All right, what are the cooking details on the chicken? So on the chicken, I thawed it out, and I went and I put it into the Instant Pot and cooked it on just slow cook, just like you could use a crock pot and cook it for 8 hours on low, and then I just took the chicken off. If you're going to use raw chicken here, you're going to go ahead and chop it up right now into little pieces and put it into your pot to saute it with your onions. Rhonda, how much rice do you soak at a time and do you freeze? So this is fermented rice. This is actually 2 pounds because I'm doubling the recipe tonight. I've been known to have 2 or 3 of these gallon glass-sized jars on my countertop. I bought these from Azure Standard, but you can get them other places as well. You can also save old 1-gallon glass jars from like pickles that you buy at your supermarket. But anyway, I've been known to line like 3 or 4 of these on the counter and fill them a third of the way up with rice and soak and ferment all of them all at once. And then after 3 days, transfer them into baggies and freeze them. Then it's ready to go. This particular batch I started this last weekend. And so I just used a strainer and strained all the liquid off, and this is ready to cook now. You will notice once you start soaking and fermenting your rice cooks a lot faster than normal. So if you're going to be using an Instant Pot or something like that, or even on a stovetop, it cooks up a lot faster. So don't walk away, and adjust your Instant Pot times depending on the type of rice you're using, down at least 2 minutes on the cook time. All right, I think we're caught up. So we are going over here, just waiting for this to get nice and hot. But if I didn't do that ahead of time, there's no way, you guys, that I could eat this way, because I've got 5 kids and a crazy life, and if I don't soak and ferment my rice and my beans ahead of time and just freeze them, it's not going to get done, because you have to think several days ahead of time in order to ferment something. And the benefits from fermenting them is so great. And once you soak and ferment rice and beans, it fills up your family so much more than if you were to just cook the rice while it's dry without soaking or fermenting it. So fermentation, for those of you who don't know, basically multiplies the nutrients in anything that is raw. So with the rice that's raw, hasn't been cooked, the nutrients are being multiplied, and that's one reason why it fills your family up fast. The other reason why it fills your family up fast is because during the soaking and fermenting process, we're breaking down the anti-nutrients that are on this rice, and so it's more bioavailable for the body. So the body's actually gaining more than normal, okay? So anyway, I do have an entire video up here on the channel on how to do that. It's not hard. It takes about 3 days, and you can do as much as you want at a time as you want, as long as you have freezer space. The other question I get a lot about the fermenting of rice and beans is you're spending all this time fermenting these items, and then you're going to cook them. So any of the beneficial bacteria that would have multiplied in this jar are just about to get killed. And I completely understand that view. But my view is I'm actually not after the beneficial bacteria. I'm after the multiplying of the nutrients. So we eat other ferments like sauerkraut and fermented dilly beans, fermented pickles, and so we don't need more fermented food, and if we can double the nutrients for the same cost these days in our food budget, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to fill up my family faster with the same amount of money. So for my family of 7, I am doubling the amount. I'm only giving you guys the amount just for a single recipe. But I usually double my amounts because then I can go ahead and save the leftovers for tomorrow for lunch. That's another way that my family saves a lot of money on our food budget is going ahead and eating leftovers for lunch, because you're not buying extra ingredients or sandwich meat or bread or sandwich cheese just to make cold meals for lunch. Let me see if my husband's crock pot is here today. Nope, I think he took it with him. He's been like on and off, wanting just like a snacky lunch, like wanting a warm lunch. He must have taken it with him. I was going to show you guys his little crock pot that I've mentioned in the past. But that's how he takes his leftover dinner to his job site. He works in construction, guys. Like, it's not even an indoor job with a plug-in. And it's just this little miniature crock pot that keeps your food warm. It does not cook your food, but it keeps it warm. And so he's able to take essentially a hot meal every day for lunch, even though he works construction. If you are on the road a lot with your job, you could also get like some sort of an inverter that you can plug into your cigarette lighter and then plug it right into there. So it's just a way to have good, wholesome cooking at your work. And it's a good way to stretch your food budget because you're using the same meals for dinner and lunches. If you need more tips about saving money on your groceries and you haven't seen my 1 hour long budgeting class with Whole Foods, that is up here on the channel. I've got a ton of tips on there. I also ran the numbers on several of my recipes to prove that recipes from scratch are indeed cheaper than processed foods. And I also have my email address in the bottom description of that video if you wanted a free ingredient list to make those months worth of meals. I have all of that for you. So that's all on that class that's just for free right here on the channel. It was a Whole Foods budgeting class. I gave it about a month ago, I believe. So if you missed that, you might want to go back and check that out as well. The other ingredient I'm going to be using tonight is homemade chicken broth. This has been in the refrigerator, which is why it's kind of like gelatinous. That's what it's supposed to do in the refrigerator, okay? Oh my ferment always have that hint of beer taste to my sauerkraut. What am I doing wrong? Are you using a weight when you ferment? This you don't have to weight down at all. Grains and beans you don't need any special equipment for. You want to make sure you're using filtered water because if you try to soak and ferment something with regular tap water that has fluoride and chlorine in it, it's going to kill all of your beneficial bacteria, so it won't work. With sauerkraut, though, you just have the cabbage and the salt, so that wouldn't be the issue there. Let me see. This is still cooking. Let me go get my fermentation kit. So this is an awesome kit, and I loved it when I first started fermenting. It's just from Mason Tops. It's a complete fermentation kit. And you can get it on masontops.com. Now that I'm making huge batches of sauerkraut, I don't use it as much, but it comes with these little glass weights, and you can get these all over the internet. You can get them on eBay too. But if you do it in if you do your sauerkraut in a wide mouth quart-sized canning jar, this goes on the top, and it makes sure that the cabbage stays below the brine, so it won't mold on you. So these are pretty cool. And then they also invented these little lids. I forget what they call them. I just call them Burpee Lids, but there's like a little tiny valve on the top, and so you put this inside your jar, and this goes on the top of your jar, and you put a ring on, and this automatically lets out the pressure and the gases from fermenting. So it's a pretty slick idea. I like I said, I loved it, and I still use it when I do small batches of fermenting, like with my pickles or my salsa. I still use that. So that's the Mason Tops complete fermentation kit. But yeah, with sauerkraut, it should just be salt and water that you've got sitting in there, and yeah, making sure the cabbage stays below the brine is really important so it doesn't mold or take on smells of the house or yeast from the house. You don't want it to be open. Okay, I got to add something to this. Hang on a second. We got to add some garlic. We need 4 cloves of garlic. So let me know, I think it was Rhonda, right, that asked the question about sauerkraut? No, Diana. Let me know if you're not doing either of those things, and if you're still doing all of that, then we can talk about maybe what else it is. But atmosphere, where you ferment it, how long you ferment it, all has to do with the taste of your sauerkraut. And also the temperature of your home when you ferment will also either speed the process up or slow it down. If your house is colder, then it won't go as fast. If it's around 70 degrees, you can expect about a 3-day wait on a sauerkraut ferment. There is, like, I call it the funky period when it comes to sauerkraut. For us anyway, is days like 5 through 7. If you start to build up the amount of days that you let your sauerkraut sit on your counter and ferment, because that's what you want to do. You want to eventually let it sit for 10 days and enjoy that flavor. And it just gets stronger and stronger with more and more beneficial bacteria. So if you can let it sit out for 3 weeks, that's some good sauerkraut. That is better than the probiotic that you're paying for in the supermarket. Because it has had enough time to multiply, and it's just chocked full of beneficial probiotics. The taste will be stronger, but what I was going to say is the funky period, we say it's between day number 5 and 7, and it kind of gives off maybe what you're smelling, like a alcoholic beer smell. When you go to smell it, it kind of like knocks you in the nose, like kind of pungent. And I believe what that is when the beginning stages of all the beneficial bacteria multiplying and giving off gases as they multiply. But after day number 7, that goes away. So in your case, Diana, it might just be that you were letting it sit for 3 days, but maybe your house was warmer than normal, like warmer than 70 degrees. And so the sauerkraut was like closer to a 5 to 7 day sauerkraut instead of a 3 to 4 day sauerkraut. And that would cause an off flavor. But yeah, once you discover, okay, it's got to be around this temperature, right around 70 degrees, if you can manage that, and if not, check it sooner. It might only take you 2 days to make sauerkraut if your house is really, really warm. Okay, so I'm just going to let this saute for just a couple of minutes. I think I'm done chopping, so I'm going to get this out of the way so you guys can see what we're doing. See, there's a weight to my canner. Check that out. I've just got parts everywhere, you guys. 76 degree. Okay, so 76 degree, 3 weeks. So I would try going, personally, I would try going like 2.5 weeks and see what it tastes like. Because I usually do 3 weeks and 70 degrees. So if you're 76 degrees, that's a bit warmer than what I usually do mine. But hey, good for you. You're eating 3 weeks sauerkraut. Your gut is loving it. That's awesome. Oops. I always try to get you guys the best view, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And once we get this going, we're going to go out and check on the canner that's outside and make sure that's not exploding. It's a water bath canner, so it should be okay. Okay, so like I said, if you were using raw chicken, you would have already had that in by now. You're sauteing it with the onions and the garlic. I'm going to grab the next ingredient. Hang on. A lot of you guys, maybe a lot of you guys watched my Azure Standard haul. So the next ingredient is 3 bell peppers worth of bell peppers. So you could use green, you could use red, you could use yellow. You use whatever works for you, whatever you like the best. Mine's already pre-chopped because I ordered so many bell peppers that we chopped them up and froze them. So they are ready to go. With a little bit of a whack on the wall. People ask me, do you usually like freeze, like chop everything, put it on a baking sheet and freeze it in there so they don't stick? No, I just whack it, you know, just give it a good whack and they break apart. Okay, so 3 bell peppers worth. I just got green and red bell peppers tonight. We're going to let those saute for just a minute or so, because they're going to get the chance to cook through in just a little bit. Smells so good in here, you guys. I wish I would have got more cucumbers this year because we love my pickled, not pickled, my fermented pickles. And that recipe's up on the channel as well. Those are so good. So you guys may have noticed I have not put my chicken in yet. It's because it's cooked. If you put the chicken in right now and then you add your rice and you add your broth and your seasonings and everything else, your chicken is going to like fall apart into strings. And I'd rather have it be like chunks of chicken. So since my chicken is already cooked, I'm going to wait till the end and add it last. I do that sometimes on soups as well if I'm using chicken that's already been cooked. Whoops. All right. I'm going to give you guys a little house tour while I wait for this to cook, because I like to be honest with you guys, because I hate it when you guys are watching YouTube, because, you know, I watch YouTube sometimes too, and you're watching these homesteaders that are putting up all this food and doing all the good stuff for their family, but they don't show you what a wreck their house is, because it makes you feel like a failure. And that's the one thing I never, ever, ever want to do on this channel, is make you guys out there feel like you are a failure or that you're not good enough, okay? And the reality of it is that if you are putting away a ton of food for your family by canning it, preserving it, fermenting it, all of the good stuff, your house is not getting cleaned while you're doing that. So, these are just going to saute for a minute. We're just going to do a quick, my entire house is trashed tour, just so y'all can see it, all right? So, there's the canner. That could probably get put away, but see, inside the fridge I have broth that needs to be canned, so it just sits there waiting for an opportunity to be used, okay? Okay, so then we have, this is a really cool attachment for your KitchenAid that makes sauce with your KitchenAid thing. It's clean. It's inside its box, but it's not away because tomorrow we're going to be doing pear sauce. This is the cutting board we just used. Let's see. Oh, underneath here, are 2 boxes of fruit. I'm not sure what. It's either pears or apples. We've got, look at the dishes. Yep, see? Okay. See what else we got. We're being real here. Okay, so right here is more pear apple butter that needs to be blended, it looks like. Should probably turn that down. We've got canned this morning apple pear butter, okay? We've got, let's see, pears, 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 pears. Let's see, pears and apples. This is the completed sauces that I haven't put into the pantry yet. This is a gorgeous apple pie filling. Look at that. So good. But the house is a mess, see? This is called life. We live here. That's what I like to try and tell new people who come to my home. It's not going to be clean, guys, because we live here. It's the way it works. Because usually when new mamas or new visitors come to the farm, I don't want them to feel like my house is perfect and I'm on top of everything, because that's not true. I'm human too. Okay, so then to this, we're going to go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning. If I had a tablespoon, hang on, I'll use this. Two tablespoons of taco seasoning. I do have a video up on how to make your own homemade taco seasoning. It's really easy and it's much cheaper than buying it at the store. Okay, the next ingredient is 4 cups of broth. And this is just gelled up because it was inside the refrigerator, like I said. And I'm doubling, so ignore this. I thought it would be just about the whole thing. Look at that. Yep. All right. We need 1 14-ounce of diced tomatoes. Wow, will you be canning recipes? Okay, wow, will you have canning recipes in the cookbook? I want to try, but I'm not sure where to start. Yes, I will. I'm going to put my canning recipes in the back of my cookbook probably, along with my recipes for chicken feed and all that sort of thing. Hang on, I got to find the here it is, can opener. But yes, all of those recipes will be in the back of my recipe book. I do have a few up here on the channel already. I have a zucchini, what was it? Salsa. Zucchini salsa recipe. And there'll be more to come. It's just, I have so much fruit, you guys, right now. I hate to let fruit rot. And so all of my days are just on my feet canning as fast as I possibly can. Okay, so 1 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. But like I said, I'm doubling, so that's why it's a big one, okay? 14 ounces, though, for one recipe. I'm going to give this a stir. Okay, I'm going to put some milk. We're going to add some milk. You need 1 cup of heavy cream or whole milk. If you use heavy cream, it will be thicker, you know, kind of creamier, but whole milk works just fine too. Oh, I gotta unbury it. Hang on. I have the greatest kids, you guys. I would not be able to preserve a lot of the food that I'm preserving without help. If you're a young mama and you don't have any help, do not look at me and say, oh man, I'm not doing enough. No, 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 no. I've got 2 girls who are both preteens at this point. So they help a lot. They are my right hands, okay? So 1 cup of either milk or cream. We just went in the pan there. Okay. I'm going to put the lid on this so it can heat up, and we're going to go outside and check on the other canner, okay? So if you get sick, close your eyes. So I'm multitasking. It's gorgeous out. That's good, right? Okay, let's see. There. All right, welcome to my outdoor canning station for today. I had to move it to the back of the house because it was too windy. Woohoo! We're boiling. All right, well, I'll go set a timer then. This is one of those Camp Chef stoves. If you're an avid canner, these are both definitely worth the investment. They're a little over $100. I bought mine from Cabela's. They deliver it right to your door. Just love it. All right, so let's go set a timer for that. Oh, look, it's Bella Kitty. Meow, meow. You're such a pretty girl. The dogs are jealous. It's definitely a warm day. I'm glad I'm canning outside instead of inside. All right. Everything's still the same out here. My husband bought me that canning stove for my birthday a few years back. It was definitely cooking this rice. I'm gonna give it one more stir, and then we're gonna add our rice. So, and that amount of rice is what goes into this recipe. So this is actually 2 pounds of rice. This is brown rice. You want to make sure that you're getting colored rice, just like we talked about colored salt. You're going to want to look for colored rice. So there's several different types of brown rice you can buy. And it's the same principle as when we use colored salt. So the reasons why we don't consume white salt or white sugar, white flour, white rice is because that is a processed food. They have taken the outside bran part of the rice off. And that's your minerals that your body needs to properly handle the starches and other things in the rice. So they're basically removing the help. So we need to keep the help on. There we go. And I know somebody had commented before, I think it was on one of my Azure videos, about how brown rice is higher in arsenic. And that might be. I mean, white rice has arsenic as well, and it's turning out that a lot of our water systems have arsenic, unfortunately, which is why it's really important to buy a water filter. I used to be able to recommend Burpee, but honestly, I don't recommend them anymore. The studies that are coming out is basically showing that they have hired their own lab people, and there's kind of a payoff situation, and also the independent done by the people who have actually bought their product. It's actually adding things to the water like what was it? Aluminum. So that's not something you're going to want in your water if you're filtering. Hello. So I'm trying to remember the name of the place. My Patriot Supply, I think, I just found out about this like last week. They have a really good water filter that's totally affordable, like more affordable than Burpee. It takes everything out all in one filter. So check that out if you don't have a water filter. The other place that I also recommend is RadiantLifeCatalog.com. I actually kept my Burpee casing. If you already have a Burpee, there it is. Okay, and Radiant Life makes a pretty darn close replica of the Burpee, okay, but it's their version of it, and their filters actually fit inside your Burpee. So if you've already invested money like I had in Burpee, and then you go through and you read all of the studies on Burpee adding things to the water that are not good, like aluminum, and you decide you need to switch, but oh my gosh, I've already put all this money in, the filters from RadiantLifeCatalog.com do fit right into your Burpee, guys. So, and they're actually cheaper in the long run than the Burpee filters if you're using the black filters and the white filters. The black filters remove 99.9% of contaminants, but then the white filters get the fluoride and arsenic out of your water. But when you switch over to the Radiant Life ones from RadiantLifeCatalog.com, that's all in one filter, guys. So you're only paying for one filter. And when you calculate it out, I calculate it out, of course, because I'm a numbers girl. So with the fluoride filters with Burpee, you're supposed to replace them every 6 months. But with the complete filters, I was supposed to set a timer. with a complete filters from radiantlifecatalog.com. You don't have to replace independent filters. So there's no replacing fluoride filters every 6 months. The fluoride removal mechanism is all in one filter, and each filter is good for, I think it was like 1,700 gallons. So you typically have at least 2 inside your Berkey. We have 4 in ours. So that'll give you an idea if you calculate around how many gallons of water you use each day, how long that would last you. When I calculated it out for our family, the cost for the each gallon of water that comes out of the Radiant Life filters was around 10 cents a gallon. And no, not 10 cents a gallon, sorry. Let's see, 1 penny. It was 1 penny, okay? And from the Berkey, it was like 0.18, so almost 2 pennies. So a little bit, almost double the cost for Berkey. But anyway, that's what that is, and so that's why I discovered. So that's a Berkey on the outside, but it actually has the Radiant Life catalog filters on the inside. I was so happy they fit. Hey, Starting Over Homestead. Welcome to the channel. Do you actually have a channel, or is that just your name? Because if it is, I might have to go jump over. I've never heard of you before, so welcome. Let me know in the comments if you have an actual channel, because I'd love to check you out. Okay, I'm going to check on this rice over here. We're just cooking away. We're just going to let it simmer until it's done here. And I would probably check on this about every 5 to 10 minutes and give it a stir, because as that rice cooks, it's going to start sticking down to the bottom. And I am leaving my lid cracked. I'm not putting my lid on all the way. I've had too many overflowage type situations with my pots that I don't put a lid on all the way anymore. I want to know if it's about ready to explode on the inside. All right, like I said, I did increase this to medium-high heat so that rice will cook. If we were to leave it on medium heat in a cast iron Dutch oven, it would probably eventually cook, but we don't have 10 hours to sit around and wait for it to cook, right? So I'm doing medium-high heat at this point. I'm going to add some more dishes to my sink. I'm going to go put away my milk, and then we're going to talk about next week's recipe. So this is going to turn out to be a nice cooked casserole dish, okay? And as it cooks, the creamy milk and the taco seasoning and all your flavors are going to be kind of all over the rice. It's very, very good. If you are cavities like I am, or if you are low carb right now, you could totally swap out this rice for cauliflower rice. The amounts are going to be a lot different. The reason why is because cauliflower rice, you'd want to steam it before you put it in here. And cauliflower rice does not absorb broth like this rice will. So if I were to do it, I would probably, and this is just guessing because I've never done it with this recipe, but I would go ahead and plan on probably 2 pounds of cauliflower rice that you steam ahead of time. I always make sure I put extra cauliflower rice in a recipe where you're subbing it out, because cauliflower rice, when you go to steam it, it goes from like this big, or you know, it goes from big to like not very big. So I always double it. So 2 pounds of cauliflower rice is probably what I put in here, and I would probably reduce all of your liquid amounts by at least half. And it might just be something that you're going to have to fool around with for this recipe, figure out what you got to do to replace the rice in here to make it lower carb. Yeah, we're starting to bubble now. So we're looking good. Okay, and I've got the last ingredient is the chicken. Like I said, this is fully cooked chicken, so I'm not going to add it until this is all done cooking. All right. So next week is going to be kind of I call it a silly dinner. It kind of is. Some people don't eat breakfast for dinner, but we're going to make breakfast for dinner. We're going to be making some pancakes, and I'm actually not going to read all the ingredients on this video, so it might disappoint you, because what I would like to do is I have a new recipe that I've been messing around with for soaked pancakes. And it's going to be inside the cookbook. And so what I'd like to do is see if I can perfect that before next Tuesday. And if I can, I'm going to give you that one soaked recipe out of the cookbook, so you guys can have a way to make properly prepared pancakes. So just in case you're new, soaked means the night before, soaking your flour in this case in a medium that has some acidity to it, so it breaks down the anti-nutrients within the grain that's been ground into flour. It is basically an easy introduction to properly preparing everything, and then eventually you can work into sourdough if you feel like it. But I have actually one soaked recipe already up here on the channel. It's for soaked pizza crust. If you have not tried that out yet, guys, you guys should. It's delicious. You guys could use that recipe to make pizza pockets if you wanted to, without having to have a sourdough or a sprouted type wheat. So that's up here on the channel as well. And you can't taste the difference. I recently made some freezer meals for a friend, and we used the soaked flour, and she was a little apprehensive. Is this going to taste weird? Are my kids going to like it? And I tell you what, her kids were eating them as they were coming out of the oven. We couldn't even get them into the freezer fast enough before they were disappearing. So there is no huge taste difference that's going to make your family not want to eat it. So anyway, I'm going to work on that recipe because I started to work on it, and last time I made it was a little bit too watery. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have some time, like through the weekend, to work on that recipe and then come with that recipe next Tuesday. I could also show how to make sourdough pancakes, but I already have that up here on the channel. I just want to do something new and fun that people who are intimidated by sourdough could totally make properly prepared pancakes for their kids. So anyway, that's going to be this next Tuesday night. I'm going to make eggs on the side. Pretty much everybody knows how to make scrambled eggs. And I'm also going to make a special topping. This will be in the cookbook as well. This special topping turns any pancakes into cinnamon rolls. It's a cinnamon roll, cinnamon type sauce that I make really quick in the morning. It's super quick, super delicious, and you can slap it on top of your pancakes and your kids will think they're eating not sourdough, cinnamon rolls. My brain's running out of power. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be making this next week. This is simmering over here. It's making a little bit of noise. Let's see if we can stir it. So this is just going to simmer on up. I know. Hang on one second. Okay, so I did have a couple of questions come into the channel this week, so I'm going to go ahead and answer those really quick. So on iodine, I had somebody ask me, oh, hang on, let me get the liquid stuff. So first question and second question were kind of like, where do you buy your iodine and what kind do you get? So this is the liquid iodine that everyone should be starting on, but I'm going to put out the disclaimer that if you haven't taken your morning temperature yet and you haven't read The Iodine Crisis by Lynn Farrow, it's a book, please don't start yourself on iodine without knowing what you're doing, okay? Because it's very powerful and it detoxes your body, and if you're not doing things correctly, you can get pretty sick. So this is the liquid, though, that you can buy. You can buy this on Amazon. You can buy it from Vitacost. It's just J. Crow's Lugol solution, 2%. These are the drops you start on, and once you have slowly worked your way up to 4 drops, then you can switch over to a pill, which I prefer a pill because it's a lot faster. As far as taking this, if you put it right into your raw milk or regular milk, you can't taste it. And then this is the pill form. It's called Ioderol. And just pay attention, that is the 12.5 version, because there's a stronger version. You don't want to obviously jump to that. And this is sold, I used to buy from Amazon, but I got kind of gun shy one month because the pills came and they were a different color and looked kind of weird, so I stopped buying from Amazon. But this you can buy on allstarhealth.com. They have really good deals on the bottles. And then also, what is it called? Supplementfirst.com. Also another good place to get the Ioderol. The reason why I love Ioderol is because it has both the iodine and iodide. And if you've ever looked into the way the body uses iodine, it actually has to take iodine and convert it to iodide. So this is both in one pill, which is great because some of us have damaged guts and are having trouble converting iodine to iodide, which is a usable form of iodine for the body. And so by taking a supplement that has both, you know you're getting something. And this is not very expensive, guys. I think it was like, I don't even know, this is 180 tablets. I think it was like $30. Not very much. And then the other question I had come into the channel this week was on magnesium. So for kids, I do, what is it called? Vital something, forget. But it's the Calm brand. And you just want to make sure when you're buying that you're getting Calm plus calcium, because your body needs calcium to handle magnesium and vice versa. So just need to make sure that it's the bottle that, or the container that says calcium on it, because they do sell a version that is flavored that doesn't have the calcium. So I just want to make sure you get the one with calcium. And so I was using that for my kids, and then I actually switched because we get a ton of calcium. We drink raw milk. We drink kefir in the morning with our breakfast, so we're getting the raw milk, we're getting the raw calcium. So we actually switched to this product, and you can buy this at, hang on, the same, radiantlifecatalog.com. I know they sell it. This is ionic magnesium. The difference between regular magnesium and ionic magnesium is that the ionic magnesium, your damaged gut can still utilize this. This goes right through you into your body and doesn't have to be processed. It's great by your body anyway. This is a great supplement for magnesium. It is not very good tasting, so if you're going to be giving it to little kids, I'd probably stick to the other one we talked about just a few minutes ago for the Calm with calcium. But I usually just put this right into my morning kefir and just like down it like in a shot glass size. And sometimes it gets me and sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, this stuff's good stuff. It's a little expensive, but it lasts a really long time. All right, I'm going to go put this stuff back. And the last question I got here on the channel was, what was the name and where did I get the supplement for my adrenal fatigue? So it is called Drenatrophin, PMG from Standard Process. You could also go on ancestralsupplements.com and buy their adrenal mix. This is just the stuff that really worked well for me. And to me, it was more affordable than the Ancestral supplements. Nothing wrong with their product. But anyway, this stuff is really, really good. And I got it through my practitioner. You can buy it on Amazon. It's a lot more expensive. But if you can find like a local chiropractor or a naturally minded doctor, sometimes they sell Standard Process. I also took, there was a B vitamin, mineral, what was it called? Minerals and, let me go grab it. I don't want to get it wrong. It was like minerals and B vitamin or something. Hang on. Here it is. Okay, so the other thing I took was this. It's also from Standard Process. Trace minerals and B12. Okay. That's another thing I used for my adrenals. I'm going to stir this pot. Hang on, guys. Because it's kind of crazy over here. I hear it sizzling. Does anybody else have any other questions for tonight? If you do, comment down below. I'm going to let this heat on up. Yeah, I know you can buy this stuff off of Amazon too, but like I said, it's usually more expensive than finding a local practitioner and just buying it from them. I have not worked on my cookbook at all this week. But it's only Tuesday. So I might have some time. by the end of the week. We're just gonna have to see. I gotta get through this fruit, guys. It's a fruit invasion around here. So I'm still shooting for the end of the month to have my cookbook completely typed. We'll see. I'm also I don't want to use the word naive, but have great expectations to get all of this fruit totally preserved by the end of the week. So if that happens, then hey, we're right on schedule for the cookbook. Just know I'm working on it when I can. I can't exactly type in my sleep, but I will be getting it done, and that will be fun. So that'll be coming. And I'm glad you guys are on with me when we're live. It's really bubbling. All right. You guys have anything you want to talk about or any questions? Because if you don't, I'm more apt to give the directions on how to finish off this casserole and then let you guys go. But I'd love to stay on and talk. Because it gets me out of canning, so. Does anyone have anything to say? I would like a cookbook. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys know when it's completed and I've submitted it to the publisher because I don't have a price for sure. Like I said, I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the month. I think it will be really great. And I'm excited because my life gets a lot simpler then because my cookbook I use now. Yes, Rhonda, absolutely. Actually, what I'm going to do, she said if you need a count. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking pre-orders once I get it to the publisher and I've cemented down a price with them. And I'll just do pre-orders because then basically you just pay for your book and I just give that money straight over to the publisher and then I ship you your book. So that's my plan. So I am. That's good to know that you want one. I know there's a couple of other people on here that also want one. So that'll be really, really great. And like I was saying, I'm really excited to get one because my cookbook is such a mess and I'm realizing just how much of a mess this binder is because it's just everywhere. I've got just stuff everywhere, guys. I've just got recipes stuck everywhere, sideways, some recipes on top of other recipes. And what I have been realizing by going through and typing all of my recipes is that actually there are 40 recipes on this channel that I don't even have a hard copy of. So that was kind of alarming actually, because what I typically do is I take a non-nutrient dense recipe and I write it on these notebooks. And then I either lose the page, lose the notebook, or just never transfer it. And so anyway, I'm having to go back through the channel and watch my own videos to get all of those recipes in. But all of the videos here on the channel, plus all the ones that aren't on the channel yet, plus all of the recipes for soaked. All the soaked recipes, stuff for biscuits and buns and soaked, everything that's soaked will be inside that cookbook, plus livestock feed recipes and canning recipes. All of that's going to be on there. So it's going to be one heck of a cookbook. And like I said, there's going to be, we're over 200 recipes already that I've already typed. So somewhere close to 250 recipes is what I'm guessing inside the cookbook. So it's going to be a big cookbook and it's going to have a lot of information in it and I can't wait to get it done. So that's going to be great. So this is just boiling away over here, guys. I'm just going to get something to take off the lid here. There it goes. We're just stirred it. All right, now does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, so I'm just going to give the directions on how to finish dinner. Because in 5 minutes I'm going to have to go outside and carry it out of the canner. So, so this is just going to continue cooking, okay? The lid is cracked. It's over medium, closer to medium than high heat because we have cast iron here. And we're just going to let it simmer. I'm going to stir it every 10 minutes or so. 5 to 10 minutes to make sure the rice doesn't stick down to the bottom. And once most of that liquid is absorbed and the rice is soft, then I'm going to go ahead and add in my chicken. stir it around, put the lid on, and let it just warm it up. I'll probably just turn off the heat at that point. Let it warm on up, let it warm through, and then it's ready to serve. If you wanted to, you sure could put shredded cheese on the top of this after it's completely mixed and cooked. That's really great too. You could also make this inside an Instant Pot. We're just making it on the stove top tonight because I know a lot of people out there maybe don't have an Instant Pot. So I always try to show there are ways to cook an Instant Pot meal on the stove as well. So anyway, that's all there is to this meal, guys. Super easy. And I've got all those other videos up on the channel, so if you need to know how to ferment rice or beans, there's that complete guide to fermenting up here. There is a specific fermenting rice video, although that's an older video. And if you watch that, then you're probably going to want to go watch the complete guide to fermenting as well, because there's a lot more details, both about beans and rice in that. I think it's a 30-minute video. Let's see, what other video did we reference? I don't think I referenced any other ones. So, and then of course, check out, if you don't have a water filter yet, check out My Patriot Supply for their water filter. It's gravity fed. It's supposedly really good. I personally don't own that one, but if you don't have a system yet, that might be a way to get in. That is an affordable way to get in, and their filters last a very long time. And then if you already have a Berkey, like I said, and if you can fit it into your budget, just switch your filters over to the RadiantLifeCatalog.com. Their filters, that's a good way to go. Your water will be a lot cleaner. It doesn't put anything back into the water, and it leaves the minerals in, which is great, and it's cheaper than Berkey filters. So, anyway, that is it, guys. I'm going to get back to my huge mess here that I have. I already showed you guys all that. So, anyway, I can't wait to see you guys next week. We're going to make pancakes. I'm going to work on that soaked recipe so it's perfecto by Tuesday. And then I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm excited about that. So, anyway, you guys have a great night. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. I will make a event, so you guys can go ahead and click the Remind Me button so that you don't forget. We're going to be live next Tuesday. All right, you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining me. Hey, Carl.